Hello class, we are on to Unit 8, and this is talking about similarities and proportions in all types of polygons. So here's our calendar. Note, I did make an error. The next A-Day, that is the 4th, so move all these dates one over, because the 7th is definitely a Thursday. That's the 8th. Our learning targets are I can algebraically solve ratios, and we'll discuss what ratios are momentarily. And then I can determine ratios between corresponding sides. We'll also talk about angles as well, but if you can note the sides, then we'll get the angles, which will give you our next part. I can determine if triangles are similar through the similarity postulates. So postulates are similar to like theorems or statements that will help prove things true. Note at the bottom, I'll also have my tutoring times, Wednesdays and Thursdays, 3 to 4. See lunch on B days only, and every morning I'm here at 6:45 to 7:20. So note, extra credit is due on test day, and these are the ways that you can get your extra credit. So turning to our first page, this is our review ratios page. This is like our 8.0, so to speak. And we're just going to review a little bit before we start on our unit, just so we can get a familiarized, so we can get familiar with what our unit is going to be about. So our ratio is comparison of two numbers by division. So we already know what division looks like. You kind of can see this looking more like a fraction. So for example, we can have 3 over 4 or 5 over 9. These are called ratios. Okay. And a proportion is two ratios that are equal to each other. So let's say I had a ratio of 1/2. Well, what's equivalent to 1/2? You can also say 2 over 4 or 4 over 8. Note our scale factor was multiplying by 2 on top and bottom, so they're equivalent to each other. If I were to reduce 4 over 8, I still get 1/2, so on and so forth. If two ratios are equal, then the cross products will be equal. So note cross product, or the word cross. So if I were to cross multiply A over B equal to CD, then AD is equal to BC. This can be used using the butterfly effect. So if I have A over B, C over D, you can always draw wings like a butterfly. Alright, so I have example 1 says determine whether each pair of ratios forms a proportion. So I'm going to cross multiply. So one side I have 4 times 16 equal to 12 times 6. So that's what a cross multiplication does. So I have 64 equal to 72. But 64 does not equal 72. Not equal, so no, this is not a proportion. So let's try the same with B. So I'm going to group 3 and 10. So 3 times 10 has to equal 5 times 6. 3 times 10 is 30, and it definitely equals 30 on the side because 5 times 6 is 30. So yes, these are proportion. Okay? So we have our next two. Solve each of the following proportions. So we're solving for x or a variable. In this case, for number 2, we're solving for a. So 7.8 times 3.82 equal to 4 times a, or 4a. I'm sorry? You're fine. Lyle is downstairs. Or actually, he's in kitchen right now. That's what he lets him out see much because he has. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. You're fine. Pardon the interruption. So 7.8 times 3.82, I get 29.8 equal to 4a. And then I'm going to divide by 4 to solve for a, and I get a equals 7.5. Okay? So then I'll do the same thing for number 3. But note this negative. So when I have 3x, this is really a negative 3x. I have negative 3x equal to 7 times x plus 2. And so anytime I'm taking a variable, I'm going to put x plus 2 in parentheses. So you're multiplying by the whole thing. So do not forget our PEMDAS laws, and we have to distribute. So I have negative 3x equal to 7x plus 14. I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides, and I'm left with negative 10x equal to 14. And divide by negative 10 for both sides, and x equals negative 7 over 5. Okay? You can also say negative 1.4, but it's a little bit easier to get the fraction, and I will teach you how to do that on a calculator. So if you have an Android, you can always download WabbitMu, and it is an app that looks very much like your calculator. However, if you wanted to find out 14 divided by negative 10, you end up with negative 1.4, which we solved for. But say we wanted it as a fraction, then you would hit math, and then press enter twice, make sure it's selected on fraction, and hit enter, and you get negative 7 over 5. Okay, so that's a way to get a fraction in your calculator. So let's go on to the fourth example. So again, I'm going to cross multiply. And note I have x minus 2. Think of that as kind of like one number. So I have 4 parentheses x minus 2 equal to 2 parentheses x plus 6. Okay. So I'm going to distribute both sides. So I'm left with 4x minus 8 equal to 2x plus 12. I'm going to rewrite this to the other side so I have room. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 2x from both sides. Because I took something from over here, I'm going to take something from over here. And so that means we're going to add 8 to both sides. So those cancel. And I'm left with 2x equals 20. And when I divide by 2, x gives me 10. Okay, and note at any time you may pause in order to go on to the next part. So now on the other side, I have word problems. So you can solve many problems that involve equal ratios or rates by using proportions. So number 5, 6, and 7 are word problems. And note, try to label the words first. Try to get your proportion of the words before you start adding in numbers. So number 5 says, Josephina sells helium balloons. So she charges $9 for 12 balloons. At this rate, what would she charge for 50 balloons? So what two items are we talking about? We're talking about balloons and money. Note the dollar signs. So she charges $9 for 12 balloons. So I have money over balloons. Money over balloons. So she charges $9 for 12 balloons. And I know I have to make a proportion. Note, so we're talking about proportions. So they have to be equivalent to each other. So at what rate would she charge for 50 balloons? So is 50 balloons going to go on the top or the bottom? 50 balloons is going to go on the bottom. But we do not know how much money she's going to charge. So we'll solve for x this way. So now we can use the butterfly effect and cross multiply. So I have 9 times 50 equals 12x. So 9 times 50 is 450. And when I divide by 12 on both sides, x equals $37.50. Okay, $37.50. Note, if you had anything after that, please round, because we are talking about money and you can have cents here. Okay, let's go on to number 6. A photocopy machine copied 50 pages in 1.5 minutes. So I have pages over minutes. So pages, I have 50 pages over 1.5 minutes. At this rate, how long will the machine take to copy 90 pages? So we already have 90 pages. They're going to go on top or bottom. 90 pages is actually going to go on top. And we do not know how long. So we're going to solve for x. So cross multiply. So I have 50x equal to 90 times 1.5. And so I get 50x equal to 135. Divide by 50 on both sides. X equals 2.7 minutes. Alrighty. And our last one, a recent school bond issue passed with 3 out of 4 votes. 3 out of 4 votes in favor of the bond. And I have a total of 255 people that voted. So we're talking about ones that are in favor out of the total amount of people. So 3 out of 4. So 3 were in favor out of 4 votes, so that's 4 total. And now I have a total of 250 people. I need to know how many were in favor. Okay, so again, we will cross multiply. So I have 4x equal 3 times 2,550. So 4x equals 7,650. And I divide by 4. X actually is 1,912.5. However, we're voting. It's kind of like humans. You can't have half a human, and nobody has half a vote. So, can't have half vote. So, round to the nearest whole number. So, you really have 1,913 votes. Alright, that includes our review ratio side. Next page, on page 6, will be 8.1 similar polygons. And thank you so much.